Hello, you're listening to Count Richard von Coudenhove Kalergi. Today is Sunday the 23rd of April and we're just coming down from here. This is the bottom of Charlemont Street and I'm looking at just another section of old Dublin after being demolished and disappeared. And this is the top of Adelaide Road and Harcourt Street, and at the next part down here there used to be the famous Manhattan chipper, late night chipper. The only difference in the breakfast was one was with beans and the other was with peas. Now you can see the back of the old building there, but that building, as far as, if I'm not mistaken, used to be a pawnbroker, one of the last few in Dublin. And you can see the development in there now, and there used to be an abracadabra there, so many drunken chicken wings I had on my way trying to sober up on the way home. Now there's a little bit of history behind that building there. On the 25th of April 1916, Francis Sheehy Skeffington was arrested at this building. Would have been on the Tuesday evening after the 1916 rising started there on the Monday. He was a pacifist and a feminist, believe it or not, and took his wife's maiden name, which was Sheehy, and he was known as Skeff to his friends. But he was arrested at this building here and brought up to Portobello Barracks, which is up at the top over the bridge there on the right hand side, now known as Cocklebrewer Barracks, where on the following day, on the Wednesday, he was executed by firing squad by a captain, on the orders of a Captain Coldhurst, who was charged on the 6th of June with being insane, court-martialed and dismissed from the army. Now you can see more of the construction site over there, and that little road opposite there was called Gordon Place. And I used to work with a chap who lived on that street, and his house was the last house on that street, and believe it or not, he only had an outside toilet, and that was in the early 1990s. So I'll just pan around now, and you can see what's left there of the George Bernard Shaw pub, iconic pub, known also before that as Bambriggs. Now further on up the street there was the chipper I used to go into, and the chap who owned the chipper killed somebody in a road rage incident back in the early 2000s. And strange enough, I've actually known two people to commit murder. The second was a man who lived in a flat in Rathmines back when he was 22 years old, strangled his girlfriend, walked down to Rathmines police station, confessed, and then spent 8 years subsequently in jail. But I just thought I'd come down and do a little bit of a video here to give you a look at, you can hear the electric bike going by there, how this landscape of Dublin is changing. And last week I was at a funeral. A friend of mine's father passed away, and it was interesting to see at the service in the church there was 5 flags up on the altar. There were 2 tricolours, EU flag, the Vatican flag, and surprisingly of all, a flag to the Irish Republic, which was a very pleasant sight. But amazingly, at the after of that funeral, I got talking to a gentleman who turned out to be from Brisbane in Australia. So I relayed the story to him about the Dr. Luke McClinton, who was sacked from his job for drawing a link between taking the soup and miscarriage, where he suggested that miscarriage rates had increased up to 75%, and was subsequently sacked from his job. And it turns out that this gentleman knew him personally. How about that for a small world? Extraordinary stuff. The Air Corps, unfortunately, in March, just gone by, had 2 accidents with two of their aircraft, should I say, while towing one of the PC-12s it was towed into the wing of the Casa Maritime, so they managed to knock out 2 aircraft out of service in the one time. You can see some of the graffiti there, which personally I think is quite a blight on the city. I was talking to a neighbour of mine there the other day who came over and relayed a story to me regarding his sister, that she had 2 children and was trying to conceive a third, and on a visit to their doctor, when they said that they were having problems conceiving, the first question the doctor asked them, had you taken the soup? To which they replied they had, and the doctor then replied that they've been seeing a lot of that at the moment. And I was talking to recently there to a young chap I met, a teenager, whose father was actually a doctor in a hospital, and he developed a heart condition after his second bowl of soup and is now on long-term heart medication as a result of it. He was very annoyed about it and has to be mindful now with any sporting activities that he would take place in. Portrait up there, Daniel O'Connell. I wonder what he would have made of Ireland now. Extraordinary the dexterity and flexibility that some of these graffiti artists actually have. I also enjoy looking at poles, some very interesting stickers on some of them. So that's the street there that my friend used to live in. His house was literally directly at the corner down there, number 14. I wonder where he is now. There used to be an Asian supermarket here I used to frequent. Get some chilies and spices and other stuff that you mightn't get in other supermarkets. Certainly they were a lot cheaper. But interestingly, one day I was buying, actually it was a shop further up the road, I beg your pardon. I was buying an electric grill from them, and he had all the electric equipment down in the basement, and the basement, believe it or not, went out underneath the road. So you can imagine my shock when a heavy truck went by and the whole place started to shake. I thought it was an earthquake, to which he laughed and said, no, that's just the traffic passing overhead. So there are a couple of comments which are my own. Thanks for listening. Good evening, good luck, and God bless.